feeling good, can I tell?
Go.
You got the red button on?
Yeah.
That's Brother Rock. Thank you, brother. Hotel family, my name is Brother Ray. We'd like to welcome you to the Brooklyn William Mackey Jr. History Club. Sorry for the last 2 weeks, but we're back this week. Once again, we meet here at the Brooklyn William Mackey Jr. History Club, African Helping Africans. We meet here in honor of William Mackey Jr., the late great, who we still mourn, Alton H. Maddox, Leola Maddox, Brother Assar, Amos Wilson, El-Haj Malik Shabazz, Louis Ray Rivera, Professor George Simmons, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and all the historians who gave up fame and fortune family, gave up big cars, big giant roadies that could last 2 days when you eat them. I mean, these historians gave up a lot because they believed in bringing information to their people. They was not in the business of selling out like so many people do. So we never want to forget them. Professor George Simmons, all the great ones. So we want to keep having these lectures and for the listening public to do their research and study, because that's what it's all about. We're going to bring the camera over to the Amos collection and zoom in to help Sababu and African World Info Systems to continue the great work of Amos Wilson, Amos Classic, Blueprint for Black Power. Sababu's latest in honor of Amos, The Psychology of Self-Hatred and Self-Defeat for the Reformation of the African Mind. One of the best books Amos ever wrote, Black on Black Violence, The Psychodynamics of Black Self-Annihilation in Service of White Domination. And you hear every individual, every politician, every big city mayor, every president, everybody in the street, the first thing they say is, oh, we're killing each other. Oh, look what they're doing. They just don't understand. Oh, ba, 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 ba. Every state. Never have they mentioned Amos Wilson's classic. When you read this book, The Psychodynamic of Black Self-Annihilation in Service of White Domination, Black on Black Violence. The key is in the book. So, we have that. Amos Classic, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child, Awakening the Natural Genius of Black Children, Issues of Manhood in Black and White, African-Centered Consciousness versus the New World Order, and you hear everybody talking about the New World Order, the last days, this, that, the other, but Amos wrote this book a long time ago. And another one of Amos's classics, The Falsification of African Consciousness. After reading that publication, you could spot a phony 3 blocks down. You don't even have to know what he's doing, but as soon as he roll up on you and start talking that yak, if you read The Falsification of African Consciousness, you could spot them people a mile away. In honor of Louis Ray Rivera, who came here when Professor Mackey left us, and he would do the lecture and talk for 3 hours, and we would clean up, and we would walk him back home. And he talked for another hour and a half and still wouldn't go upstairs. So we have that, Jazz in Jail. K. Damian, The Distorted Truths of Vascularization of Rational Cosmology. Earl Ponder, Revealing the Unspeakable Bible Verses. The Truth About Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, the Holy Trinity. And Empress Jamaica, Confronting the Color Crisis in the African Diaspora. So these publications is here, and it's just a way for the audience and the public to do your research, buy your books, read, and anything a historian says, if you don't believe it, you could always do your own research. So we also have some other publications in honor of the great Dr. Ben. Black Man of the Nile and his family. Wasn't too many computers back then when Dr. Ben did this book. Excellent. In honor of Brother Harold, the transfer agreement, the untold story of the secret pact between the Third Reich and Jewish Palestine. Dr. Randy Short, Slavery Mastery, the impact of religious slavery revealed. Dr. Randy Short, that brother. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you see the news, you see the mayors of big cities, the governors, and everybody running around. The migrants have to get this. They deserve to work in housing. But when you look at the people that fall under the category of the African American and the struggles that we came through, the dogs, the ropes, they ain't pay no goddamn dues. Charles Hamilton Houston and the struggle for civil rights, not what these phony black leaders, these silver right leaders, who are breaking their behind, talking about these new folks coming here and how they have to get something. It's disgusting. In honor of Charles Hamilton Houston.
That's right.
Every time you turn around, you hear somebody. Mayor Adams, Chicago mayor, all these Oakland people, everybody. We have to do something for them. We used to spend our hard-earned money to put in for these city tests. And then you would pray that one of these city agencies would call you. Of course, you done spent your hard-earned money, hoping that you could get a job with the city. And then they would kill the list.
Yes, sir.
They would eliminate the list, and your $40 is down the drain. And then they would come out with another list. And your family would tell you, put it in, and they would give you the money, and you start praying again that you could get a good job for the city of New York. And now they're eliminating that bullshit.
That's right.
And got black folks and politicians endorsing it. Civil rights. It's a goddamn shame. You got people dropping dead all over the place. Edward Dow's book, Unknown Causes, the epidemic of sudden death in 2021, 2022, 2023, and it's going to be 2024. And he used to be an analyst for BlackRock. Dr. Scott Whitaker, out of Georgia. He was on Darren Muhammad's show in his book, Medicine. The causes and solutions to diseases, malnutrition, and the medical sins that are killing the world. You have a lot of stuff going on in the state of Georgia. And the only one, in my opinion, that cared about the people of Georgia is Cynthia McKinney. When China sneezes from the coronavirus lockdown to the global political economic crisis. Cynthia McKinney's book is excellent. You even got some people down there get together and coming up with all kind of laws to try to indict the Don. There's a reason why they call him the Don. The truth about COVID-19, exposing the Great Reset, lockdown, vaccine passports, and the new normal. And if you look at the news, they're bringing it up again, mask mandates, and all of a sudden this thing is coming up again. Read this book, and you'll find out what's going on. Io Kamati, the irritating genie. Jews are the problem. He has a publication that's excellent, and the research behind this book will drive you crazy. So in honor of Io Kamati, the irritating genie, we have this book. Presidential candidate who's getting my vote, bar none. Robert Kennedy, the real Anthony Fauci. Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health. Get this book. Read it, and you won't be asking too many questions. So they're coming up with the same stuff again. Presidential candidate Robert Kennedy. And if you think he doesn't know the history, you better think twice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a few announcements on some community events. Thorough Black Talk comes on every Thursday with Sister Keisha, Brother Tad, Brother Ashe, Brother Black, Brother Blacksmith, and Sister Marcia, who was at the Marcus Garvey presentation that they had, and we had a pretty good time. Our Saturday connection. Sister Empress Chi, out of Philly, and the Million Women's March. Blog Talk Radio. We have Empress Chi, and that comes on every Saturday at 10:30, and the telephone number is 1-319-527-6189. And you can log in and get in on the conversation. Every Monday, Io Kamati, the irritating genie, has a program come on every Monday at 10 o'clock on WSYP 95.1 FM, Sankofa Revolutionary Radio with Brother Anthony Muhammad. And his program comes on at 10 o'clock to 11, and you can call in, and you just Google Revolutionary Radio, and his Straight Black Pride presentation cookout was excellent in Temple Hill this Sunday that just passed. So we're going to try our best to make it out there next year. We want to salute Brother Io Kamati and the work he's doing. Our brother out of Baltimore, Darren Muhammad, State of the City, comes on every Saturday at 12 o'clock on Facebook Live and TuneIn Radio and Instagram on the State of the City, Baltimore. Darren Muhammad, 1590. That program comes on, and Brother Darren is laying it down and giving you everything that's going on. Also, don't forget he might come on tonight or tomorrow. Every Tuesday at 7 o'clock, Dr. Lean, Your Immunity Project. That's 7 o'clock. And it's Your Immunity Project. He has a Zoom presentation, and it's excellent. So that's another program that comes on with Dr. Aline. Every Friday, African Echo Study Group out of Newark, New Jersey. Brother True and them, and Brother Trust Graham is the mediator of that group. If any of them comes on to this program, they can put the information in the chat. And you can tune into that study group every Friday at 8 o'clock, African Echoes. Also, on Saturday, the Know Thyself study group out of Asbury Park with Brother True. Brother Trust Graham is also the mediator of that program that comes on Saturday at 1 o'clock. If any of them tune in, they can put the information in the chat, and you can get the emails when you can tune in on Friday or Saturday. Dr. James McIntosh, WBAI 99.5 in his program Minefield. With Sister Richardine Theodore, they had an excellent program today on a psychologist that was talking about schizophrenic, and it was real good, so we want to salute Dr. James McIntosh and the work he's doing. His program comes on every Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I believe.
Yes.
And you can support WBAI in his program, so we want to salute Dr. James McIntosh and the Simultap organization. If you go into Simultap, you could know what Betty Dobson and James McIntosh and all the people connected with Simultap, you can see what they're doing if you tune in the Simultap organization. Also, Community Cop radio program on Manhattan Neighborhood Network that comes on every Tuesday at 5:30, and you can go into the lecture and find out what they're doing. So that's every Tuesday, and they will be coming back on pretty soon. So ladies and gentlemen, we have that. They had another few events. The parade with Marcus Garvey was good. The dinner that they had was pretty decent. So that just was some stuff that was going on. So ladies and gentlemen, we have coming back to the William Mackey Jr. African Helping Africans lecture series. A very good friend and man that's just utmost in his dedication, information. All his lectures is on the B.K. William Mackey Jr. History Club on YouTube. You could go in, except for the 2 band videos that they did. If you get in touch with me, I can get those videos to you. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to tell you about the coup that went on in Africa and why the U.S. is against it. Give a great big hand to our noted scholar and good friend, Dr. Arthur Lewis. And he's going to be in Detroit. For our people in Detroit that's on YouTube, on Zoom, he's going to let you know where he's going to be at in Detroit. So you can come down and check him out, Brother Mikhail and the good friends from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you very much, family. Thank you, Rajiv.
Okay, I would like to, my name is Dr. Lewis. I would like to extend my appreciation to the Africans who are in the audience now for attending the Mackey's to the 3 lecture. I'd like to dedicate what we're going to do today to all of the African people, ancestors, and those who are here and those who are on a global scale. What I would like to deal with is the issue of African countries 2023 as it relates to how Africa is developing. We prepared a 3-page handout, and as usual, what we're going to do is we're going to read, or I'm going to read from what I put together so that the audience that cannot be here or who has not gotten the handout, they will hear what it's about. Then, what I would like to do is I'm going to go to the map, just to illustrate what we want to deal with. On this map, in yellow, is the landmass that takes the name of Africa. What we're going going to deal with today is a series of about 6 countries located, this is the north, the south, located in the northern quadrant of Africa, running from west to east. They call it the Sahara, means bordering the desert. There's a string of countries right here. And in order to understand what is going on, we need maps, but you have to put the maps in your mind. There was a coup. A coup is a takeover of a government, just means to cut the head, coup d'etat. In one of the African countries about 2 weeks ago, and that African country is located, this northern part of Africa is called Niger, N-I-G-E-R, not Nigeria, Niger. And so what we're going to do is to talk about the country and the coup, but we have to go through some background material. The background material will help us understand what is happening in this coup. So what we're going to do is, there are 3 pages. On page 1, I titled it Russia. Here. Next to it is Libya. And the reason that I prepared this short summary on Russia and Libya, because you will get an idea of why Russia is now fighting in Ukraine. The second page, we titled it Europe. But the second and third page are going to be dealing with uranium, that natural mineral that has a capacity, after you dig it up and concentrate it, has a tremendous amount of energy. And then the third page, we're going to concentrate a little more on Niger. So N-I-G-E-R. We're going to talk about the coup in Niger, but we have to go through this material. I'm going to read it to you so that you will become familiar with it. Now, page 1. On your left-hand column, we titled it Russia. What I did was I went back, did a little research to see the history of Russia back about 500 years. The area you call Russia, and I'm going to the map again, the area we call Russia is this area here. It's about 11, 2.5. It's about 7,000 to 8,000 square miles. It's 3 times the size of the United States. It's numbered 1 through 17. And it's to illustrate how Russia, what is now that area you call Russia, was put together. It was put together as Russia the same way the United States of America is put together. You steal this amount of land, then you take this amount of land, you attach it. Then you go over here, you conquer that amount of land, knock out the people, then you attach it. That's how the United States was built. That's how Russia was built. So when we talk about which country owns what, we have to try to keep in mind that there's a long history. We had a discussion before about whether or not Big China, People's Republic of China,
Right.
whether that island called Formosa is part of Big China. Big China is ruled by human beings that you see, that you might consider white. And they rule over a large landmass that's a little bit bigger than the United States. But you go back to the history of China, go back a certain amount, and you look at the country, and you look at the country, you make a rectangle, and you cut it in thirds. And you look at the map of China. And you'll notice the eastern third of the cut. There's the Great Wall of China that runs down the eastern third of what is now China. The country you know as China, like Russia and the United States, was put together by conquest. That Great Wall was put there by those human beings to the right of that wall, the eastern one, to keep out other people in Asia. Those other people in Asia that wall was to keep out. So when you look at China here, and you'll see this area here. China spans from my finger, but it was only 1/3. And they built it by conquest. Mao Zedong, after they won the independence in 1948, they took Tibet, they took parts of Asia, and they made the country. So we're not talking about anybody saying, this is my idea. The land has come back and forth. So what I did here on Russia, I want to show you the wars that Russia, when you look at Russia, look at Putin. Russia is a large country. It's made up of about 20 different units. The White Russians run the country in terms of international affairs, but you have at least 15 distinct ethnic groups, Muslims, all kind of Asians, all of it under Russia. And it was put together by conquest. So I'm going to read to you 17 distinct things that Russia went through to build its country. And that's going to have relevance to what we speak about Libya. So by the time we get to the coup, you fully understand. And don't let anybody talk to you about head of state. He was elected properly. It's democracy. Care what head of state you got. If that head of state cannot deliver for the people, you don't need him. I don't care how you got there. And that's what's happening in those strips of countries we're going to deal with. The latest one is Niger. The young people who are making these coups are in their 20s and their 30s. Like Thomas Sankara, that Lame brought to us like he did. That's what's happening. And these countries are put together by force. Only the ones like the United States talk of democracy and you can't do this by vote, etc. Killed millions. So this is how Russia put together its area you now call Russia. 1568, number 1 to 70, Russia and Turkey had a war. Turkey is a country there. The White Russians, the Turks, all of these countries have been fighting each other for land, and land has turned over. And now you have an area you call Russia that's now under the White Russia. 1783, number 2, the Crimean annexation. The Russians annexed what is called the Crimea in the 1700s. Never belonged to Ukraine. Ukraine wasn't a country 30 years ago. Number 3, Russia was attacked by France in the Napoleon War. 1812, Russia won that one. Number 4, 1853 to 56, Russia was fought what they call a Crimean War against the UK, which is Britain, France, and Turkey, fighting over land. 5, 1877 to 1877 till 78, Russia is at war with Turkey again. Turkey is that area you now see Turkey, but it was called the Ottoman Empire at that point.
Right.
Exactly.
1905, Russia fought Japan. The Japanese were backed by the British to fight against Russia. And then we'll see later what Russia has, why so many people want to get in to get what they got. 1914 to 1917, Russia fought World War I against the Germans. 1918 to 1923, Russia was invaded by the Allied nation. When Russia pulled out of World War I, and they had the Bolshevik Revolution, United States, England, France, and the West, with other countries, went and physically invaded what you call Russia, trying to keep out the Soviets at this particular point. 1939 to 1945, Russia was in a war with Germany again, World War II. 1942, Operation Pipe, UK and France had a plan to bomb the Soviet Union in 1942. 1945, this is after World War II, Operation Unthinkable. The UK wanted to invade Russia, but did not have enough troops. 1945, Operation Totality. The US had a plan for a nuclear attack on Russia. 1949, Operation Dropshot. The US had another plan for a nuclear attack on Russia. 1969, Russia had a border dispute with China over the in Manchuria, over the Ural River. They resolved that. 1994 to 96, Russia had a war with an area within the Soviet Union called Chechnya. The Chechens won that war. Putin came back in 1999 to 2000. They had the second Chechen war, in which Chechnya was brought into Soviet Union. In 17, you presently have a war with Russia fighting Ukraine, NATO, and the US. It's a proxy war. With Russia demonstrating that they have the strongest military force on the world on the ground. Nobody beats it. Russia is presently defeating Ukraine, US, and NATO. Now we're going over to Libya. That same page. And why we put in Libya? Because you will see who is and how they work to cause trouble in North Africa. Right here. Okay? Libya, 2011 to 2012. Libya against the United States, France, NATO, and the jihadists. Jihadists are those people who you can call them mercenaries. The army they put together, they happen to go by I can't think of the religion. Islam. So who attacked Libya? The United States and France bombed the place for 9 months. Then they brought in the jihadists. Those are your mercenaries on the ground. What was the result of that? The destruction of Libya as a state. President Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated. The African citizens who are Libyans and lived there were enslaved by these jihadists that the United States brought in. Theft of Libyan gold and silver. Thousands of tons were taken. Seizure of their oil fields. They have a massive aqueduct, water aqueduct. They seized it. Who seized it? United States government and white people for their use. Libyan's foreign reserve currency was stolen. Yet, foreign reserve, they froze it. France owed Libya a lot of money. They kept it. What you gonna do about it? The Islamic jihadist mercenary group is organized, trained, equipped, transported into the Sahel. After they destroy Libya, these countries that right below Algeria and Libya are called a Sahel nation. The United States armed them and put them in that area to disrupt each and every one of those African countries in that world. The countries we're talking about is Algeria, Guinea, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and Chad. To give you a little clue, France has the second largest deposit of most of these countries during the slave African invasion when they took over. Most of these countries were colonized by France. Yeah. We'll get into the detail. That's what the United States does.
Yes, sir.
We're going to page 2. Page 2, on your left, upper left, you have a word called Europe. Europe gets oil, gas, coal, wood, food, gold, minerals, uranium from 2 sources. Africa, which they steal from it, and they get it from Russia because they have to buy it when Russia has the gun. So people will steal your, as they say in the street, I can't use the word.
Why not? From home.
Okay. So now you know how Europe is now surviving, has been surviving. Okay? We'll go here, Europe is 1, and we're going to go down to the same left column, number 2. And you look up the listing. It's from the World Nuclear Association, uranium production, 2021, in tons. In order to get enough energy to do certain things, to fly planes, move railroads, to shoot rockets, you need energy. You need that heat and the energy, and you get it primarily from coal, wood, oil, gas, and uranium. Uranium is critical, and you will see why it is. Number 1, who's the largest producer of uranium that are used in nuclear reactors? According to the World Nuclear Association, it's Kazakhstan, 21,000 tons, followed by Namibia in Africa, 5,700 tons. Canada, 4,690. These are tons of unprocessed uranium. Uzbekistan, 3,500 tons. Russia, 2,635 tons. And it comes in Niger, 2,248 tons. It's the 7th largest producer of uranium in the world. China, 1,800, India 615, Ukraine 30 tons, South Africa 29, Iran 71 tons, Pakistan 45 tons, Brazil 29 tons, and the United States 8. Czechoslovakia,
None.
Republic, none. Romania, none. France, none. Germany, none. Mali. So you're going to see who has the uranium and who needs it and who's using it.
Go ahead.
We're going to go to number 3. They list the top 10 countries that have nuclear reactors. And these nuclear reactors are providing energy to run a country. When the people tell you about I heard a little discussion here about some of our white rulers in the United States talking about global warming.
Go ahead.
Tell the Africans, don't use your oil,
Go ahead.
don't use your gas, don't use your coal. You're going to put a global warming. So the African says, wait now, for the last 150 years, your European from Netherlands went and you took Indonesian oil. And you Frenchmen, and you English, you went into the area you call Arab area, the Middle East. You took Saudi's oil. You took everybody's oil, Iran's oil. In fact, the Seven Sisters, when you look them up, those major oil companies were all white owned in the, they say 1900 to this year. The United States get most of the oil stealing from Venezuela. They all got oil. In the United States, England, France, NATO, they're all running their country. They're moving the ships with oil. All of the military. All of the industrial base. So the Africans said, wait, you steal our oil. You use the energy from that oil to build a strong, dynamic industrial base.
Right.
To give you everything you need. Now, when it's our turn to use it, you shouldn't do it because of global warming.
Talk about it.
Okay. Meanwhile, they had a global warming
So much for your global warming, huh?
Yeah, they had a global warming conference in Ireland last year. And who attended? Hundreds and hundreds of all of the global warming white people who don't use it. And how much fuel did they use with them damn private planes?
Just to get there.
The United States has 4% of the world's population and use 25% of the world's oil. So the Africans say, forget it. We're going to do what we have to do. So who is using nuclear reactors to run their country? Because they don't have oil, wood, and coal. The top, number one, okay, now let's go from 10, the way they rank it. Now, it seems like the only people who have the uranium is either Africans or some Asians. Nobody in the whites don't have anything here. Okay. Spain, as of this year, 2023, has 7 nuclear reactors that generates 22% of their electricity. The UK, Britain, has 13 nuclear reactors generating 16% of their energy. The Ukraine has 15 nuclear reactors generating 54. But by the time Russia finishes with it, when Russia went in, for whatever the reason, they took the eastern quarter of Ukraine. So think about this table. Russia's here. Ukraine, this is Ukraine. This is east, this is west. That's going on to Europe and America. What Russia conquered was they cut the country up and they took the eastern corner of Ukraine, where the Russians live. Because, you know,
Right.
Russia, okay. 95% of everything that is worth anything in Ukraine is in that one corner. The land is excellent, but all the factories, gold mines, uranium, everything. So Russia wasn't stupid. When they made the Soviet Union, they made sure that where all the natural resources was where their people live.
Right.
So Russia has now taken away 95% of all the natural resources, minerals, everything that will make Ukraine a strong nation. So Russia is now number 5 in terms of countries, and they're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Canada has 19 nuclear plants. They use 15% of their electricity generated. South Korea has 24 nuclear reactors. They get 26% of their electricity. Russia has 38 nuclear reactors, 20%. Japan has 33 nuclear reactors, 51%. France has 56 nuclear reactors, giving them, they get 70 to 72%, 72 to 80% of their electricity is uranium.
The most.
And the United States has 90, and they generate 20%. Now, the United States put sanctions on Russia. They're not stupid. Why didn't they sanction uranium? Why? Because 20% of this country would be blacked out. So you see the Asians and the Europeans, because the Asians have the largest industrial mass right now. The greatest concentration of industrial power is in Asia. It left the United States in the West. And how the United States and the West got it? When they went in and took us from Africa, that started the Industrial Revolution. So they don't give them credit for it. What the Europeans and white Americans got was from our invention. They took our machines and everything from Africa. They developed it and we built it up and they moved it to China. So that's your technology. And it's going to come back. So the Asians and the Europeans don't have uranium. It's the Africans and some Asians, okay. You go down to number 5. Even though Russia is number 5, even though Russia, you go to number 2, Russia produces only 2,600 tons. See, under number 2. But if you go down to 5, Russia has 40% of the global uranium refinement infrastructure. You want some refined uranium, you're going to come to Russia. Russia refines 46% of all global capacity. U.S. buys 35% of their uranium needs from Russia. So without uranium, there is no Europe. There is no what you call the United States. There is no industrial base in Asia. We're going to page 3. The Sahel state, they use the term Sahel means bordering the desert. The Sahel state of these countries that we will now say, each one of them has had a coup. Each one of them is when the young people, 20s and 30s, pick up the arms and tell the older people, the older sellouts, or the older ones who made their accommodation, they're not sellouts, they're bombers. They take the money. That's what he does. He takes the money. Malcolm didn't take it. Elijah Muhammad, the other people didn't take it. Some people take it. So these countries, you see Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, and Chad, they all had coups in the last 3 years. And these coups is the takeover of the government. We're taking you out. You're not doing anything for our people. But we were democratically elected. No, you weren't. You were put there by the French and the U.S. Okay, even if you elected, the criteria for a government is, are you taking care of the people? No. So in each of these countries, the French were there, and the people have nothing, okay? These two young ladies right there, they're 2 countries. We're going to make them Mali and Burkina Faso. That's where Sankara came from, Burkina Faso. And then we take the 2 brothers here, and we make them Niger and Chad. What do they all have in common? They're all countries in this latitude, all African countries. People who look like every one of us. Light skin and dark skin. Have 7 siblings. We run all colors. Relatives from Barbados, black as hell. Relatives from the south, a little lighter. We know how we got there, but we still Africans. There ain't no difference here.
Right.
So don't let anybody tell you any of that. So what do you do when you go in these countries? You find that they all were under French colonialism. In other words, the Europeans went in first to start stealing us. Workers, weaving machines and stuff. Then now, after stealing us, working us, and you built Europe and the U.S., they now came for the land. They started coming in and say, I run this country. So each of these 4 countries were former colonies of the French. And what arrangement do they have? France is the 4th largest gold reserve in the world. Say. France don't have a mine. Where they get it from? Not one mine. They got it from when they stole it from Gaddafi. The gold was coming out of Niger. The gold was coming out of Burkina Faso. Okay? So those 4 countries. When they made the coup from the president in Niger, that's the latest one in the end of July.
Right.
Right, that's the
The president is it's a B and a Z, Bazoum. He's the president that was put there by the French. You can say what you want. He's Muslim. Most of his ancestry is Muslim. But it isn't so much that he's a Muslim. But the mindset is, you are the president of a country that's 95% not Muslim. Okay. Religiously, a large percentage of the people, countries and people in Nigeria are Muslim. But they're all African. They're all us. Don't make a difference whether you're Catholic, Muslim. That means nothing. But Bazoum, heritage is, we got some of everything in it. I got cousins who are nieces who are blonde, and this mix here and that mix here. So that's not the issue. But Bazoum, even though his heritage is made there, it has nothing to do with that. But he was one of them, like other Africans who were put in place, like the present president of Nigeria. He's an African straight away. He's the president, but they say he's a bad person for whoever was here. So I'm not saying anything about Bazoum because he's a Muslim or he got his mixed blood. So that's not the issue. But he allowed himself to take the presidency. And he and his group didn't do anything to change the situation in these countries. What is the situation? They sell, Nigeria, dig up the uranium. There are 3 French companies. So what they do is they get in, they lock you down in IMF World Bank loans, and they station their troops in here. Every one of these 4 countries had French troops here. This, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso got the French troops now. Chad got them out. Now it's Niger turn to get them out.
Right.
Okay. So the arrangements that they made, each of these 4 countries, like most of the other countries under there, the uranium is dug up by these companies, and it's taken out, and it's sold for $300. They give the Niger $15. And then that $15 goes into the pocket here, and the people never see it. Go to some of our countries and you see this. So now the uranium is going out, the gold is going out, and they have massive oil. When the country makes money, see that $15 they made off the uranium?
Right.
And that little chump change they made off the gold, and all of that. Whatever your country makes, you got to take half of that and deposit it in the French central bank. What if I told everyone who got a job, who got a company, I don't give a damn what you got. You're going to take half of your wealth, your paycheck, the money from your stock market, and put it in my bank. How you like that? Every one of these countries, whatever foreign reserve that they collect, you got to deposit in the French bank.
Making the French rich.
Then you got to use their dollar, the franc,
The Frank.
the French franc. So France has $2. The white dollar, the same one. Every time the economy goes bad, they change the ratio. So in other words, the ratio right now is this 10 to 1. So France makes it 20 to 1. So when you go and deal with the French for this one thing, you got to pay the French 10 of your French dollars. But because they changed it, no longer you have to pay 10, you got to pay 20. You know, this is what they've been living under for 60 years under official.
Robert.
So they are stealing your stuff. You got to put half your money there. Then you got to use their currency. Then they station troops there to put a bullet in your feet if you bother them.
Yeah.
And this is what the coups in these coups from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Chad. No more. Troops going out, and we're going to get loans, not from the IMF and World Bank. This is the coup. And in Niger, they said, no matter how much wealth there is here, you don't see the wealth. So the people said, we're taking the person out because he or she has not been able to deliver anything for us. The French said, no, that's bad. The Americans said, no, that's bad. The crazy president of Nigeria, whatever his name is, he wants to go to war. And then this other guy from Senegal, they want to go to war. Okay. So that's the nature of the coup. Okay. When I was in Vanuatu, 1979 to 80, Dr. Ben sent me there to help the government instead of going to Nigeria. When I got there, they celebrated their first year of independence. Paper independence.
Yes, sir.
The white Frenchmen got all the land, the English got everything. All you got is a damn piece of paper. Nothing else.
And a flag.
That's it. And the Prime Minister and the rest of them were telling us that French and the English were hunting them down. The same. In the South Pacific, the slavery that white people did to us, they call it blackbirding. Same slavery. Everything you read about that the whites did to us here, it's identical. So, when I was there for a year, the 90 islands, they wouldn't let us leave the main island. We found out later, 3 months when we were there, that the father-lady of Vanuatu and the Vanuatu party, they went to Papua New Guinea and others to get troops, to come back, to get the French and English out of the damn country with the bullet.
It's the only way.
Okay? They fought it out. I can tell only certain things. They got rid of, they deported most of the French. Because Vanuatu was the only country that had 2 European colonizers at once. The French and English. And when they were fighting, they went to Papua New Guinea, and all the black countries contributed troops. And they came back Vanuatu. And once when they physically said, people ask me about we cowards. I saw white people, English, French, Australian, you call them what they want. They treat you like garbage in Vanuatu, just like they do us here and here, when they were in power.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you don't do this. But when we had the gun, you see how everything changed. So you can't blame people not wanting to be shot down in the street. So they deported most of the Frenchmen. The French like to put their people in and they dig in. The British like to control you with their bureaucrats.
Psychological.
So the issue, when we were in the hospital, I was in the hospital, one of the things I had to do, see, I came there with my wife and 2 children, and we came to set up a clinic to train for the eyes and hearing and everything else. And I'm in the middle of the revolution. I had no idea. So we did what we had to do. Me and some of the other brothers and sisters took the position with the government of Vanuatu against those conquerors. Work for a foreign government, you don't have permission. The issue came, we had to, a number of us after a year, we had to leave because of certain pressure. The issue came to land. The French said, you can't expropriate our farms. Meanwhile, the children that I checked, many of them couldn't hear because their eardrums were infectious. Why? Sleeping in the field. See? Sleeping in the field while the Europeans eating your food on their farm. So the issue of the United States, the French, the English came to Vanuatu and says, look, you cannot take you cannot take our people's land from us. And so the question was how to deal with it. So however Vanuatu came up with the idea, or some of the other brothers' recommendation was to pay the Europeans, especially the French, for their farms.
Shouldn't have gave them nothing.
No, you got to be fair. Democracy. You can't see people's opportunities. What are we doing?
Democracy is 72 hours. Leave or you dead.
Look, right? One of the French ambassadors came in for treatment, but he wasn't there. He wasn't supposed to be there, and he wasn't there. So a lot of things went on. So the decision was made by the Vanuatu government that we will pay those French farmers for their land. We will reimburse all of them. People say, but how can you do that? They stole the land. Vanuatu is a typical African-based country where the land is collectively owned. You can live on and do it, but you don't own anything. So the people, the Europeans lined up.
Their hands up.
To get their money.
That's right, their hands up.
Their money.
Their money, it's their land. They stole it from you, they forced the kids in the field. So somebody came up with the idea, which South Africa could have easily done, but they didn't do it because the ANC ain't right.
Go ahead. Same difference.
Okay.
But Doctor,
We
I don't exactly know what happened with Haiti with the French.
yeah, listen, what we're saying here, once when you understand the pattern of who you're dealing with, you know how to deal with it.
It's the same thing.
That's what we say, that's what we're saying here.
Right.
Okay? First Frenchman come up. How much land you got? I got 4 acres. Vanuatu is the same as the Caribbean. It's 20 degrees above the equator, the Caribbean is 23. So if you lived in the Caribbean, anything, it's the same. Same people, same weather, food, everything. I think it's a little more lush because it's open. It's not as crowded. So the first farmer come up. How much land? 3 acres. How much you calculate?
Give them $3.
They calculate.
$3 for 3 acres.
No, they calculated. So, okay, this is how they solved it. Before, here's the clue. Vanuatu, you don't own land. You live on it collectively in your group. So what did they ask the Europeans for? What do they ask you for anything you're supposed to own? They want a piece of paper to show where you own it, right?
Right.
So what do you ask for when you own land? Deeds.
Right.
So the government asked the Europeans, show me your deeds. Who had deeds? they put us in slavery and everything else. We only pay if you have deeds. There's no deeds in Vanuatu. So how many white farmers did they pay?
None.
South Africa could have easily done.
You
But
just said.
for some reason, they didn't. It's a carryover, but that's not for me to criticize.
99 at least.
They didn't have to pay a dime. Just show me the deed. Ain't nobody had no deeds.
That was nice and well.
So that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
In the hospital, when the English, the French, and the Americans, when they give aid, they give you aid. So I, with the prime ministers and the people from Vanuatu, we all worked together. And we had to go through their hearing aids, glasses, equipment. The report goes back. The French and U.S., they want to know why is it that the people in the hospital are rejecting all aid? Because you're shipping garbage. Nothing is here useful. Oh yeah, when we calculate up 3 million, we send you 3 million of aid, garbage. And then they turn around and ask for $3 million. But we'll take some land for it.
Nope.
You're taking nothing. This is garbage. The white people who came from Australia, no Americans. You're Australia, England and France, the nurses, the doctors, all the technicians. They're white. They're not government agents. But in that struggle, who do you think they sympathize with?
The white one.
So you cannot have your enemy inside your country. You got to get rid of them the best way you can.
That's right.
So Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Chad, French troops out. Who do you replace them with that can balance off the worst enemy of African people at this time is the white Americans, because they got the most power. I'm saying
Go ahead.
that somebody told me to say it. Let's consider who is the most dangerous to African people globally? The United States of America. With their cohorts, Europe. They demonstrated it by the slave trade and other stuff. So we're talking a fact here. So, who can you now bring in? When we first had our, back in the 60s and 70s, when you fight your revolution, right? And you go and you were the heads of state. But you always had the Europeans, the Israelis, the French, the Americans. They could always undermine you. So who do you have to get to balance off the United States and France? Who do you think these are?
China.
There you go.
China and Russia.
ECOWAS, France, say they want to invade Niger to put the president back in, right?
The puppet back in.
So there was some solutions, they said. If you come to put them back in, right? What if we kill him? I didn't say they said it. What if ain't nobody to bring back in? What happens if we try him for treason? He can't be the president. So what they want, the English, the French and U.S., they want to go back to everything the way it was. So these three countries in there said, wait, first thing is, all of the 15 French colonies here, they're all working to get rid of the French franc. Get rid of the money. We don't use that money. They're getting rid of working on that. Second, the people who run the coup in Niger said that they want to cut off France from the uranium. They're going to cut them off from the gold. And we want the troops out. That's what these three countries did. Chad did it already. Mali did it. Burkina Faso now. Niger is going to do it. But Niger is more strategically important. The most strategic of those 5 countries in that area. For 2 reasons. One is the uranium.
Definitely. Definitely.
Now, So when they make the coup, they get rid of all of the countries. So what are they doing? Okay, these people collaborate with the French. So now the young people are running it. Number one. Second, they're being threatened by France, they're being threatened by the United States. So immediately, Nigeria and France wants to invade the country. But these countries, Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, said if you attack Nigeria, we declare war on you. So now, it's not Nigeria it's not like Gaddafi, who was isolated. Now you have Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Chad said, we will send you troops. Mali, who got rid of the French, they got Russian in there. Wagner Group in there helped them organize and train. So what they have to do is they rapidly build up the military, because you have to have a military to balance off the United States and France. That's the change. How the hell you gonna put somebody in place who's going to allow the country to be economically raped, allow foreign troops in the country, give the people nothing? So that's going to be replaced by no foreign troops. We're going to reconsider. We're not giving you gold. What's going to happen to France if they can't get that gold? What's going to happen to France if they can't get that uranium? So Mali has already made an arrangement with Wagner. You know, Prigozhin they say he just got killed in the Kremlin.
Today.
Right. How you have the audacity to do to Russia and Putin, to the world? You think you were going to get rid of that? You don't know when you're going to get killed, yes or no? Come on, give me a break here.
You know what we doing.
So, I'm repeating what I heard on the structure.
Go ahead.
I'm not there to say. Just like most of the stuff here, I didn't originate it. I just piece it together.
Right.
So if the government or somebody want to blame somebody, blame the people whose papers are here. Don't blame me for putting it together.
Who got killed? I'm sorry.
Pardon me?
Who was killed?
What's that you said today? What's this guy's name?
Prigozhin. Prigozhin was the head of Wagner. This is what I'm listening to the people who.
It's a private army.
Yeah, I know that.
I gotta elaborate on what Wagner is.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. The way I'm hearing it, they say he was the head of Wagner group, the fighting group. Wagner is put together by the Russian military and secret service. It's not a private organization. It's a branch of, it's like a foreign mercenary. You know how the French have a mercenary army? That's essentially what Wagner. It is a creation they're saying, the so-called expert, it's part of the Russian government, the secret service and stuff they created as a private group, that's able to fight, just like the United States get the jihadists. You know how they get these Muslim or whoever, and they fund them and pay them? And the jihadists went in on Gaddafi, and the jihadists are on their borders,
Right.
and we'll talk about the jihadists in Syria. The same way the United States had jihadists, then the French had the Foreign Legion. Oh, it's the Foreign Legion that's blowing up your house. It's not the French government.
Go ahead.
Wagner is not Russia. It's Wagner.
Right.
So the way they say it is that Putin and others allow Prigozhin to be the head. It's like saying, you're a law enforcement person. We're going to make you the head of the CIA. How the hell are they going to make you a head of the CIA? It's just nonsense. They're going to make me the head of the highest medical office in the United States. And you won't last a day.
Right.
So you know they're not not putting you in place. Their structure ain't gonna put you in the CIA, ain't gonna put none of us in there.
Right.
So they allowed Prigozhin, they gave him a contract so he can supply food for them, and they made him in. They're saying that the Wagner Group, their provinces, in other words, here's Ukraine here, and here's Russia. There's areas of Ukraine where the Russians live, okay? Russia came in to conquer those areas where the Russians live to protect them from the Ukrainian government.
Exactly.
Now, the way they explained it was, that Wagner Group is like the French legionnaire, what they call it? The French Foreign Legion. As long as they're fighting they can't fight on Russian soil. Okay? The French Foreign Legion isn't supposed to fight on France's soil.
Right.
Only in emergency. So what Russia did, they created it. They put Prigozhin as the head. They get all their weapons, all their training, everything from the Russian army. Guns, bullets, jeeps, everything. It's the Russian army that's not the Russian army. It's a mercenary group.
Right.
Before Russia annexed these two provinces in Ukraine, right? It's still Ukraine. So because these two countries, that province that Russia annexed, before they annexed it, it was Ukraine. So the Wagner Group could fight in Ukraine because it was a foreign entity, right?
Exactly.
Once when the Russians conquered it and officially made it part of Russia, they explained that the Wagner Group cannot any longer fight in that area as the Wagner Group. You understand what they're saying? This is technicality.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So they were already planning to take the Wagner Group, take Prigozhin out as the head, and they took the Wagner Group and said to them, we'll give you a choice. We'll give you a choice. We're breaking up the Wagner Group as it's structured. Those can come and sign a contract to be part of the Russian army. They're all Russian.
Right.
So a certain number of them signed up. And then, this is my belief.
Go ahead.
It looks like it's working out that way. The Wagner Group is in Africa. Then about 10 countries
Right.
have invited the Wagner Group in to help them train to do what? To balance off the United States and France when they couldn't do it before.
Right.
That's why they could assassinate all our leaders, because we didn't have the protection. So the Wagner Group is the Russian counterpart. That's in each of these countries. And the countries are saying, I'm a small country. I got this monster you call United States and NATO, and they bombed the hell out of Gaddafi. But now we ain't gonna be bombed. So we're going to block together that, help each other. We're going to rapidly get these Russian troops in there and get us up to par. Train the military. You got to protect it. As soon as Vanuatu got their independence, they created a large army called the Vanuatu Army. And then the Australians and the New Zealand Americans said, well, why do you need an army? To kick your ass out of here. Every country needs an army, especially when you got people who want to steal your stuff. So that's what Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, they got the Wagner Group. They just got a delivery of some Russian helicopters, some Russian small jets. So they have to rapidly get their stuff together before there's a coup, before they can account. Now, so the Wagner Group, they were always, when they were fighting with Russia against Ukraine, they were already in Africa. The Africans knew, the young people, you learn from them before, they said, look, in order to balance out the United States, we got to get somebody who will help us with weapons, guns, and everything. And that's Wagner. Now, they said Niger has already met the Wagner Group, so the Wagner Group is coming. So if ECOWAS, mainly Nigeria, if they're going to invade Niger, in order to put back a head of state who may be dead before you get there, or he's going to be locked up for treason, it doesn't make sense. So the Wagner Group is in each of these countries, about 10 African countries. Why? Because the young people already saw what happened to their father and their grandfather, brought off and assassinated. Thomas and Carol, who Alarme brought here.
Right.
They know the game. But now Russia is there to help. There was a period of time from it's a 10-year period from 20, he came in at 2020. So 19, 20 years before that, Russia couldn't help. Now they're big and strong. So you have 10 or 12.
And the fact that Putin is there now.
Oh yes, So now the African countries, when they make the coup, they block together. They're already getting the weapons in. They're getting the training. We waiting for you.
Yeah, come on.
And you gotta have a strong military to deter.
That's right.
Now, the president of Nigeria, okay. There's no difference between Niger, and Nigeria and Nigeria. They're all the same people, wherever you cut the line.
Go ahead.
No border.
Same difference.
So what I'm learning, listening, because I have never lived in Nigeria, this president, who they said they're going to try to remove because he didn't put in the proper credentials, can't think of his name right now. They said he has a criminal record in the United States that won't be released.
Well,
And there's some,
Nigeria?
huh?
Nigeria?
The president.
Oh, yeah, the one that was a drug dealer in Chicago.
That's
in
right.
The United States.
That's right.
So
That's the
why
one.
U.S. put him as president.
There you go.
That's him.
And then you see somebody put up pictures of that president
Yeah.
with what's his name? What's his name? President of France.
Macron.
What's it?
Macron.
Macron. He's kissing his wife and hugging. They get what I always tell myself and my children. 4 things. You have to be alive. Try doing something dead. Second, you want to be healthy. Third, you have to decide how you're going to spend your time while you're alive and healthy. And fourth, you must protect your reputation at all costs. You can't have anybody coming behind you and say you did this,
Lying.
the drugs here, and the women here.
That's right.
Anybody is capable of anything, but I was in Vanuatu twice. The second time coming out, there was a coup in Phoenix. I and my son were stopped for a short period of time. We didn't have anything to do with it. What I did in Vanuatu, some people could say you work for a foreign government and didn't register. What the hell am I going to say? When the Prime Minister came, 3 times we brought him, and the other one that came here, I, and a number of us had to register with the Secret Service. So they know you're here, but we're good people. We're honest people. We're Americans. So me personally, I have nothing that anybody can put over my head on anything.
Right.
Okay? That's how you have to do it and keep it. So if they don't want you, they just eliminate you, but it ain't going to be that, well, you did this and I got this paper on you and no. Okay? So that's very important. Your reputation is critical.
Always.
So that's the way they present this. So this president of Nigeria wants to invade. The Senate of Nigeria says, we're not giving you permission to invade.
That's right.
And then Nigeria said, but ECOWAS is a union of ECOWAS. It's a union of what, 10 or 12 or 15 West African states.
Right.
It's an economic union. It's not a military union. So they asked them, how you going to use an economic union and to fight? So the president, the people of the government of Nigeria said, we're not doing it. I've listened to some reports from the bloggers out of Africa and other places. They say there are 300,000 Nigerians in Niger. Everybody crossed the border. I was on Togo, standing on the border with Nigeria. Here's Togo, and here's Nigeria. I'm afraid to cross. The people in the boat, people walk. I'm the only one standing. Everybody's walking back and forth. So you know about borders. Borders don't mean anything. So they said there are 300,000 people. So I've heard some senators from the north, in the Senate of Nigeria, the senators from the north. They said they had consultation with the people in the north. And they said the people told us, our representatives in the north, the part that borders Niger, there's no war. They don't want war. And that if there is war, they're going to sabotage the Nigerian government. If there is war, we're going to fight against it. You're asking somebody, your cousin in North Carolina, they're asking you, they're the same people, same
Right.
cliques and villages.
On the side of Niger?
Pardon me?
Did you mean they're going to fight on the side of Niger if Nigeria decides to go? Is that what you said?
Niger, they have a common border, right?
Yeah.
The people who live in Niger and the people who live in Nigeria, the northern half of Nigeria, and Nigeria, they're the same people. Cousin here, uncle here, brother here, businessman. Now you're going to ask somebody to go to war against your cousin, your uncle, your mother, your father. You know, in the Caribbean, everybody go to different islands. So the people of the north already sent the message back. Nobody want war. They said, Nigeria, you got too many problems here to solve, and why are you bothering with it? Because you want to do what the French and the Americans telling you to do.
Exactly.
And then the synagogue people, doing the guy in synagogue did the same thing. Synagogue, or I think it was synagogue. He worked with.
They always on both sides of the war.
Okay. So the people said they don't want war. They said they did a bloodless coup. They didn't kill anybody. Now you're going to make a war and you're going to start killing up a bunch of people. So Niger, he's got support from Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Chad. Now, here's Nigeria. Here. See over here? And you see a country above it? Sorry, this way. This country here, it's called Algeria. Algeria fought the French. And the war was what? About 8 or 9 years?
Yeah.
And the Algerians lost 1.3 million people were killed by the French. And the Algerian government says, I'm going to back Niger. Because he realized that they're breaking Europe, they're breaking France. They're taking away their military, they're taking away their thing. And the president of Algeria, even though they're Muslim and light skin, well, that light skin don't mean anything. It's what your mind is here.
Exactly.
Because when it comes to light skin, I was working with a young Jewish guy, and he's telling me about the Muslim women. This is in Brooklyn. And the Muslim women are nice and looking, and then, no, the Jewish women are nice, but the Muslim women are this and this, and I said, wait a second. You go to a party, you talk that nonsense here. You put those Muslims and you put those young Jewish women, beautiful, nice body and everything, you turn the damn lights out, what you gonna do? You're not judging by no Muslim, you ain't but by no Jews, you going on. You understand that people talking nonsense. They're not real. You gotta be real. No, say, oh, this is a Jewish, oh, this is, no, you ain't dealing, your mind ain't dealing with that. You're dealing with your hands and your mind. So I'm telling the hypocrisy of people, so when it comes to these light-skinned stuff, it's how you act. Bazoum, that's his name. He just let the country go. He didn't try to do nothing for the country. So, Niger has the backing of these three, and Chad. Algeria said they will send troops, because the Algerians said the French are doing the same thing to me. They're stealing my phosphate, my oil, and something else. So, that Muslim countries, we all Africans. Muslims who want to be Muslims. You look at African countries, there are 1.5 billion people, and there's only 100,000 on what they're 5.5. There's less than 100,000 Muslims. If you want to be a Muslim, a non-African, you are outnumbered. So these countries, they are solid with the Africans. They're African, you understand? Okay. So Algeria says, we will send troops to assist you. So now, France has to think, and France can't do it. They don't have the military. And in order to send in the planes, you French have to cross over Algerian space. Algeria said, we're not letting you use our airspace. That's right. What are you going to do about it? You're going to shoot the damn plane down. So you can't attack Niger. You've got to fly it all the way around here. Everybody told, so they locked down the French. The United States has a major base in Niger, and they're saying nothing because they don't want to lose that base. That base is a spy base so that the whites can spy on all you Africans. Right. So Niger now got, what's the name of this? Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso. They said we're going to send troops. We're going to send helicopters. We're going to send our jets. Wagner is already with them, strengthening them, and the Wagner has come over. So if you're the hunter or what, then you know you got these countries. You have Niger. You have Wagner. Algeria got your back. The people in Nigeria, they the same people. They said they're not going to allow it. They're not going to do it. So now they're African. So now they can cut the uranium to France. They can now cut the gold shipment to France. They can cut them all. Yeah. And as we finally go wind down, you're going to see how critical the uranium is to France. So that's the situation. That's the situation right now with the coup. Mali seems to be the connecting state because Mali is the one who already has received fighter jets and helicopters. Niger, they said, no, excuse me, Mali? No, Burkina Faso and Mali, they both were. It's really Burkina Faso. They have the jets, small Russian jets, and they have helicopters. And they said it was Mali, let me see my note, Burkina Faso has reestablished diplomatic relationship with South Korea. And you know how fast airplanes go? If you need some weapons, you need some troops. See, they're getting it together. In other words, they gonna be that crap that you can go in and kill Lumumba. Those days are over. We're the military, we young, we organizing, we working with each other, we working with Russia. Russia has already, they say they warned Nigeria. Nigeria said they don't want to go in now. Because you see, if you see what Russia could do to the United States, Russia combines the satellites, those surveillance jets, drones, they can hit anything. Okay? They can hit anything. So, Russia has a tacit threat against ECOWAS, really Senegal and this crazy guy Nigeria. The Nigerians don't want to go in. It's this guy. So if they're smart, they better get rid of him. So it looks like he's in fairly good shape because the people are with him. He's got these countries to back him. Now, we go to page 3, and we'll finish out the question and answer. Page 3, in the upper left-hand corner, it says Niger. And right below, it has 4 things. So I listened to one of the bloggers. I listened to everybody I can. White, black, blue, green. And McGovern, who used to be in the CIA, but he's out now. You know, Eisenhower warned you of the military-industrial congressional complex, right? They all split the money. So McGovern is adding military-industrial congressional, media, academic, and think tank. They're using the full facility of their capacity to lie to you to cover up. So he just said that's his input. Number 2, the jihadists, Islamists, whatever it is, organized, trained, financed, directed by the United States and NATO. When Russia was in Afghanistan, the people they were fighting were financed by Pakistan and the U.S. So it's not what I'm saying, what it is, what is. And Dr. Lewis is just saying what he read here, so don't blame me for the reality of what it is. Now, number 3, Syria. We're coming down. Number 3, Syria. In 2011, there was an attempt to overthrow the government of Syria. There was a dispute within Syria. Right. Syria is a government that has a lot of different groups, religiously and ethnically.
Right.
And the Assad, the family, what's the family?
The Assad.
The Assad, yes. His father did him. There was a dispute in one of the areas, and there was a, what you call a heat? When it gets hot. I can't think of it. When you get the heat, what do you call it when you get a massive heat wave? The word I'm looking for.
Heat wave.
Not a blackout.
No, I can't think. It was very hot.
Drought.
A drought, yes. The food was short, hot as hell, and the people raised hell.
Right.
The same group of people raised hell against the government that's been raising hell. And the government just quietly, right along, squashed it. But then what the United States did, they began to feed weapons.
Right.
And they began to do things, and so it swelled up. And then they organized and brought in the jihadists. And the jihadists made a move, Syria, say this is Syria, this area here. This is the Caribbean, no, what you call that, the Mediterranean, this is land. The capital of Syria is here. Turkey is here, north of it. And so the demonstrations were there, they were containing it. But the United States kept feeding weapons and weapons and weapons. To stabilize Syria, Iran came in. And from 2011 to 2015, Iran brought the troops, protected the capital, and stabilized it so that the jihadists could not overrun it.
Right.
Because the United States couldn't overrun Syria, see, Gaddafi didn't have that. What saved what's the name of the
Assad.
Assad, to save him was those Iranian troops. They kept the country strong and they stabilized it.
Right.
The country was cut in half. Because the United States couldn't do the jihad, it wasn't working, they decided to do a bombing campaign on Syria, like they did to Gaddafi.
Right.
They put in the jihadists, they couldn't get through, so they said the only way we're going to break Libya is to bomb them.
Yeah.
So they bomb out, you knock out all the airplanes, all of the thing, and you just bomb them. And when you weaken them, then you send a jihad. They tried it in Syria, but that man was too strong. So they said, we're going to do a bombing campaign. Somebody pick up the phone to Russia, I need help. Russia went in with their Air Force. It's their Air Force which blocked U.S., it blocked Israel, and then Turkey decided to enter the war from the north, figuring that they would overthrow Assad and they could retake the northern part of Turkey. So in other words, number 3, the Syrian war was Syria, backed by Iran and Russia, against the United States, NATO, and the jihadists. Okay. We're going to number Libya. Libya was attacked by the U.S., NATO, and jihadists that had no help. So he went down. Now in the Sahel, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, backed by Algeria. They're a tight unit.
Right.
So those jihadists, they're causing trouble with all of the northern part of the country, backed by the U.S., funded by the U.S., intelligence. How do you get groups, they say, these are nomadic groups who are contesting the presidency? Where the hell they get jeeps? Machine guns, bombs. And you know, a lot of the stuff there, you know, the reason the United States is pouring a lot of that stuff into what's the name, Ukraine, to get rid of the old stuff so they can replenish it and charge us 3 times as much. 5 or whatever it is. And then those weapons are getting into the jihadists. You see, the jihadists, these jihadists that's attacking these Sahel states, those weapons came from the stores of weapons when they took from Gaddafi. So those weapons they took, they split it. Some went into Syria against Syria, and some went into these jihadists. Everybody who understands the jihadists were put there by the U.S.
Right.
Now, those countries, Guinea, Mali, and Burkina Faso, now that they have their own planes and they have the Wagner, they're able to begin to push back and knock out the jihadists.
That's good.
Only because they're unified and because Wagner's help. What the United States do, they put in the jihadists and say, you know something? You need French troops. You need U.S. troops in your country to fight against the jihadists that we put there. Guinea, Burkina Faso, and Mali, and Chad said, we ain't buying that. We prove it. We're going. And with Algeria here, helping them, Algeria has one of the largest armies in Africa, largest army in the world.
That's right.
So your plan is, you good Americans, all your CIA, everybody's looking, what we going to do? As that guy said, time's up.
That's right.
This is what they're facing.
That's it.
And so if Mali's going to go ahead, Niger, cut off the French from the uranium, cut them off from the gold.
The television, they took off their media.
Yeah, right, okay, number 4. No, number 4. Europe, what's the name of this country? Germany was number 4, industrially.
Right.
It was, they say U.S., China, Japan, then Germany.
Right.
Because the United States said, no, because someone said,
Go ahead.
and it seems to pan out that somebody blew up the pipeline. That Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2.
USA.
People are saying that is the USA. So let's do the reasoning that people say, who benefits the most? USA, because now that the gas is not coming into Germany and distributed, United States, I can sell you gas.
Right.
Yeah.
I can sell you oil 5 times as much as you were buying it from Russia. Don't buy Russian oil. They're evil empire. Buy it from us 5 times. Don't use your oil and heat. It's going to make global warming. All the damn cars you got in this country.
Exactly.
So the people are not listening to the hypocrites. They said the United States military is number 45 in the world on using fossil fuel. In other words, there are 44 countries that use more oil and gas. The United States is 45th, and the rest of the 101 countries, they use more oil and gas to run all these damn airplanes and these ships. I mean, people understand what's going on. They talk. So, I go off on these tangents.
Right.
But on number 4, the pipeline is down. Okay? The United States is shipping them shale oil. Said the shale oil is not good. You know why? Got 5 little pebbles in it. Because instead of being pure oil, they had to crack it, crack it.
Right.
So they said the stuff was inferior.
Yeah.
5 times as much. Plus, the United States can't ship it. They can't take care of their needs. So Germany has dropped from number 4 to 6 or 7. Europe is in a deep recession.
Let's stay on.
Because of the lack, you gotta have that energy in order to make your country strong.
That's right.
Okay?
I think you're on food.
Now, we go to let's go to number 5. France, France for 10 years get 27% of the uranium from Kazakhstan and 20% of the uranium from Niger. What do France use uranium for? Nuclear reactors. So they bring uranium in, put them into their nuclear reactors, and then say, look, we got some extra uranium. So they go around Europe selling uranium to everybody. So they're getting uranium almost free. They can run their nuclear plants. They're making money selling to other countries for their nuclear plants. And they're selling electricity. 3-4 billion. So without that uranium, you see, they can say, oh, we don't need the 22. It's a third, 33. They got to have uranium or the nuclear reactors aren't going to run. They're not going to make money generating electricity to other European countries, so that's going to further slow down the industrialization and bring down Europe. So that uranium, France's nuclear energy to light their homes and to run their industry, uranium for their nuclear weapons, uranium to make electricity to sell to the rest of the Europeans, and uranium to electricity. Europe is going to go. That's how critical Niger is, and they make it such a fuss. Now, as we wind down, remember the pipeline is broken, right?
Right.
The United States is selling inferior product for 5 times as much. Now, Norway has oil fields. So Norway is selling, the same time the Nord Stream pipelines were bombed, the oil pipeline from Norway was turned on. So the United States did it, and Norway saw an opportunity to sell their oil to the Europeans. So you see how much the Europeans stick together. Now, the United States thought that they could cut off the oil and hurt Russia's sale. All Russia did was, the oil is now going to the Asian country. So that's accelerating Asian industrialization, and it's pushing Europe down in terms of their industrialization. They need oil. The Arabs are not selling them the oil. Saudi Arabia and the Arabs, they're working with Russia to cut the oil production to keep the price up.
Yeah.
So when they cut the Russian oil, gas oil, they said, we can pick it up from the U.S. Yeah, you're picking up inferior stuff at prime time. Norway can't supply enough. They asked Israel to have a little oil field right off of here. Israel has gas. There's gas all along that line. Egypt, Syria, Lebanon. So Israel has a gas field that the United States company built. And when they went to Israel, you think you can give us some gas? You know what they tell them?
No.
No. So the Arabs aren't giving it to them. The Israelis are giving to them. Guess who has a lot of oil? Nigeria.
That's the best oil in the world.
If you look at number 4, what does number 4 say? The gas fields in Nigeria, they want to build a pipeline
To Europe.
to Europe. Wait now, here's Nigeria.
Oh, we on that
They have to run it through Nigeria. Nigeria said, you know the whole you can forget that one.
Yeah, that's what they said.
You see how they start?
They
Your
said no.
Your white folks think they got all the answers, so
Yeah.
they can't get all. Venezuela said, we ain't giving you nothing. Now, so they want to run a pipeline. They want to invade Nigeria. And then you think, Nigeria said, you're not running the pipeline. They want to run it through here. And Algeria said, no. The Algerians, and then they know they've got the Americans and the Europeans by, you know what they call a coronas. They stop.
About time.
Okay? You're going to ship the oil. You think that Nigeria is going to let you ship that? You think Algeria is going to let you? Algeria is with the Africans. They say, I'm African. I'm with you. I ain't with the Europeans.
Exactly.
Okay? So, United States is trying to play
Both sides against the
low.
middle.
Right. Because they don't want to lose that base.
That's right.
So that's the importance, in summation, that's the importance of Nigeria. One, that pipeline to Europe, that's going to go. Two, they now see that you're going to try to go to Nigeria and do an invasion. Russia said, I'm backing you. Now, you don't know what Mali is getting from North Korea. North Korea has a lot of weapons. North Korea has good rockets. They got the technology from Russia. What Russia did, in my opinion, to keep a check on the Chinese, Russia and North Korea work data tight. China and North Korea not tight. It's Russia. So if you give and build up the nuclear capacity of North Korea, that keeps the Japanese in check, the Americans in check, and just in case China, you know, they're not stupid. The foreign minister, the minister of defense for Russia, they just visited North Korea. What they talk about? You know what they talking about? None of your damn business. What do you think Mali's talking about? If I was advising Mali, Dr. Ben said you never want to be the president. Because they assassinate president, you want to be the advisor.
Right.
To that, okay?
That's right.
What do you think Mali's doing? Burkina Faso, from Sankara. They got the jets, they got the helicopters, they work with Wagner. What are they? Look, the West is afraid. Look. If you see the effect of poverty on your children, you will kill somebody. And they have reached that point. So the way I see it, or the way it is coming out, Nigeria should be stable. You got all these countries helping. Russia has, they didn't threaten Nigeria. But everybody knows if ECOWAS goes in, it's Nigeria.
Right.
So they, and all of you Nigerians, all you got to do is look what Russia could do to NATO. So that's basically it. Now, we got, it's 8:30, and
9, almost.
so we have,
Yeah, daylight saving now.
you know, you want to give Ray Ray a heart attack. No, it looks good. It looks good because you have a chain of countries that's
Exactly.
sticking together as a unit. And also, Algeria told France, we're not going to let you overfly our country to attack Niger.
That's right.
So France has to go all the way around. So what should hold Niger so that the coup is not going to be overthrown? Nobody can do it. But when you got the support of 1, 2, 3, 4 countries that bought in, that all had the same problem with France, they all kicked the French out. You have the Russians there. You have the Russian military. And this will end here, my part, with question and answer. They had Russia has a yearly conference. In the eastern part, the western part of Russia, in, what you call that place? Can't think of his name. I can't. Where do they have the conference?
Petersburg.
Petersburg.
St. Petersburg.
Every year they have the big conference. And then over here, every year they have the conference in Vladivostok. So if you're an investor, there's unlimited investment there. 5 years ago, and we wind it down, when you went to that conference, 1,000 people there, they were all white. English, French, German. They all want to invest in Russia. And you know why? Why did, when we read all of those invasions, why are they trying to get into Russia?
They got the
Wood,
strongest military.
oil, what they want from Russia? Resources. The same way they went into Africa, they tried, all of the wars were trying to dig out the resources.
That's
And Russia got the best ground military, nobody, because they had to prepare with all these enemies around them,
Right.
mainly coming from the Europeans.
That means on the right of me. That means on the left.
So, in this conference, Russia, there was a G7, and then there was a G8.
Right.
When they included Russia as a G8,
Right.
but they kicked Russia out.
Yeah.
Kick them out.
Because Russia
Put
was
you in,
with
put
the
you out.
ships.
Russia, Putin said he asked your friend,
Trump.
what's the rapist, the president rapist?
Trump.
Trump or Biden? Which one?
No.
Yeah.
Biden.
No,
Oh, and Clinton.
Clinton.
Oh, that was.
Clinton ain't raping nobody. He had to beat them all. He ain't raping
Putin,
nobody.
Putin, Putin said to the Putin said to the G7, can I join NATO? He asked him that. He said, no, you can't join NATO. You can't join it. Why? You can't join it. He said, we know why. Because NATO was created, you hear the statement over and over again, to keep the Germans down, America and Russia out.
There you go.
If you put Russia in Russia, for what they call Europe, it runs from the Atlantic to the Ural Mountains. 40% of Europe is at Russia. How you going to keep them out? So it was a G8, and then they came out. And then they start swinging over to the west. So if that conference they had in July, all non-white people. Who's there? The Africans, the Asians, the Caribbean. Everybody there
Yeah.
who was once beat up by the West. So now when Putin sits down, he's sitting down with all people of color. He's smart. They know which way the world is going.
Right.
And remember when the Muslims asked this country for 5 states? Every one of
The
the
Black Belt South.
every one of these 20 different ethnic groups, they have a totally independent country. That ethnic group, the Czech and the Muslim, every group is totally organized by their people. The only thing that White Russia does is take care of the military. Can you imagine? So in other words, what we asked for, after the Civil War, half of us got caught in sharecropping.
Yeah.
Another group said we don't want anything to do with whites, so they gave us the strip along the Atlantic, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia.
Yeah, to get
They
you
took
out.
it back, they took it away from, but that's what we went through. We said, we were given that, they took it back. So half
That's
of,
the gullah,
yeah, Gullah, half of us got caught in what they call the sharecroppers. Another portion had stayed along the coast. A certain number stayed within the state, like Wilmington used to be black controlled, and then they took it over. And then a number of us went out, like Kansas and stuff, and the Wall Street. In every case, they destroyed it and brought you back under.
Exactly.
You don't have that in Russia. You go to Chechnya, you see, it's totally Muslim. One Russia ain't got a damn thing to do with it. Just everything Muslim, they got the thing. It's 20 independent countries.
Right.
With Russia only taking care of the security. You got that here? They won't even give you a state.
Nope.
They passed the redlining law. The redlining law, the book, there's a book out,
Cultural genocide.
how the forgotten secret on how the U.S. government segregated America. And the redlining was to concentrate African people in the cities. That's our concentration camps.
Right.
And it's all codified. That's what was happening to you.
Right.
But if you go to Russia, you in an ethnic group, you speak your own language, you run your whole state, just like you run your own house. That's how each of them, this country don't know. These are Nazis.
Cuba has the same thing.
Yeah, these are Nazis. So you can't expect anything else from them.
Exactly.
So, in conclusion, with those countries backing them,
Presidents of colleges,
when North Korea is there, Mali, hopefully the Burkina Faso get whatever they get. North Korea said, I'll give you whatever you want. You got what I need. You got uranium, you got gold, and you got food. So that revolution, it is a revolution, and you're going to see the change.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Dr. Lewis a great big hand. Okay. Dr. Lewis, from people in Detroit who's on the Zoom, will you tell them about Saturday so they can find out what's going on?
I'm going to leave New York on Friday evening. Get in Detroit in the evening, 10 or 11 o'clock. Then Sunday I'm leaving back to New York, but Saturday I will be doing a health seminar for the organizational structure in Detroit. Now,
You know what
that, no. All I know is I'm getting off the plane.
Okay, don't worry about it. Mikhail,
I don't know where it is.
he's going to call me and then I'll relay the message
Yes.
for you to tell Bomani and the gang
Where we will be.
Where?
What up?
they're going to be at. So, it's 9:37. We're going to take 2 questions. One from the Zoom and one from the floor so we can get that going. The first question is going to be from the Zoom. Anybody have a question for Doc?
Hell with the Zoom.
Anybody have a question for Doc? Going once? Going twice?
Go, Michael.
All right.
Bad behavior.
A question for Doc.
How can we get a copy of this fact sheet?
Well, and I have the copies. You get in touch with me via my number and I'll mail it to you. Okay.
Thank you.
The next question is from the floor, and that'll be it.
Okay, quick question.
Question or comment, either one.
It was reported that Meeks, who's on the Foreign Relations Committee, has just recommended paperwork that any countries that are dealing with Africa on the side of Mali and Niger and all of them should be investigated. He just submitted.
The country should be investigated?
Yeah, that country should be
That's why we
investigated.
will-
Anybody that's siding with these various countries, and not only that, from what I understand, every member of the Black Congressional Black Caucus signed on to.
What?
That's what Alton said they're a joke.
Let me, the best way I can answer it is this.
Go ahead.
If these countries, they're dealing with what? They're dealing with how to take care of their people. They're dealing with preparing for possible invasion with jet planes. They're all linking up. Who the hell cares what the Negroes want? What does that mean? What does it care? Who cares? What are they going to do after that? So you pull out your niggas. You think that's going to change what these African countries going to do? That's going to change Russia? A bunch of black folks dressed up, got a good salary. You work for the United States government, which you have a right to work for it, and you do what you're told. You can say whatever you want. You think it's going to change anything? Nothing. I don't know who it's for. It's supposed to show the support of the black people in America against this country. You're a joke after the way we've been treated.
No, I just wanted to expose Meeks and put that on record.
We protested him up and down.
They pulled Meeks. He's one of the highest delegates.
Yes.
Why did they do the black face? Obama's the black face. So just bring in, they took the money. I don't blame Meeks. He took the money. I ain't got nothing against Meeks, so don't sue me for slander. You got your salary. You work for the U.S. government. We don't work for the U.S. government. You work for them and you do what you told.
There it is.
Right.
The guy from New York, what's the head Democrat? The Jewish guy upstate. Schumer told Congress, the young Congress, you better be in line and be careful because the FBI and the government has a lot of ways to get to you. He said it. I didn't say it. Telling you better stay your ass in line.
That's right.
Right.
He said it. I didn't say it.
Better not be no Cynthia
What?
McKinney.
Who was he saying it to?
Huh?
Who was he
He's saying it to the new young
New people
people coming into Congress. If you think you're going to upset anything, you take your pay, you take your cut.
You take your marching
You
orders.
take your cut from the
He was telling it to
thing,
swallow.
and you shut your mouth. If you don't,
And all of them
okay? If you don't, we got something on you. That's what he meant. What does he mean? You can speculate. They got ways to keep you alive.
That's nothing new. It's always been.
No, so that's what he meant.
So I thought that Israel and the U.S. were together. So why would Israel not want to give the
Israel
US?
played both
Not
sides
with
of the
the
fence.
Why would Israel not want to give the U.S. access to if they're supposed to be friends? The U.S. dumps all this money into Israel.
Okay, so
It's a long story.
Israel is spying on the U.S.
Answer the question. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
right now, Israel is a liability to the United States.
Yes.
That's right.
All Arabs, for their reason, Saudi Arabia, they're hooking up with Brits and the Africans.
That's right.
You follow it a little close, they telling Israel, bye. The African Union allowed Israel to sit into their conferences as an observer. A number of the African delegates said because of their treatment to the Arabs in Palestine, the African Union no longer allows Israel to sit in. Why does Israel want to sit in? The European countries are not going to work with Israel. Israel can't go to European countries for any number of reasons, for weapons, anything. So you little Israel, you got 20,000, you got 15 million people. Half of the people in Israel are not white Jews. You're a small little teeny country. Okay. The European countries said, because you are mistreating the Arab, we don't want anything to do with you. They're all damn hypocrites, so they can't go to Europeans. The Central and South America, the only one left that they can hook up with an international alliance was the Africans. The Africans allowed them to sit in on the African Union. Why do they don't sit in on NATO? Why they don't sit in on the U.S.? Nobody else will take Israel. Nobody. The only one that allowed them recognition was the Africans. But the Muslim, the northern part, they said, so they got Israel. Right now, Israel is not linked to anything. Niger is linked to Burkina Faso, Mali, Chad, Algeria, Russia, North Korea. They got 10, 15 people willing to do it. Israel don't have one person that will come to its defense. Israel is of no importance.
America will.
Israel is of no importance to the United States on that. You're in a world where the Africans and Asians, they run the world. BRICS, Russia, Brazil, China, South Africa, and whoever, India. Their economies is greater than the United States and all the white people. So the BRICS alone has already surpassed all of the white countries in terms of global economics.
Yep.
And everybody want to join. BRICS, McGovern once said, the white guy from the CIA, he said you have a two world. One lily white world, and the rest of the world is the dark skinned world. United States and the lily white world. Against all of the other ones, he said what they all have in common was the lily white world, including America, they put slavery on everybody and stole from them.
That's right.
Nobody's forgetting.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Dr. Lewis a great big hand. I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting the Brooklyn Mackey Junior History Club African Helping Africans. Give yourself a great big hand. Thank you, Zoom audience, my Detroit people. I'll get with you so we know we're going to be in the Motor City this Saturday.